goes back to schools. Like if you knew your hack was better than theirs, you had one up on them already. So New Zealand, our second game, and mentally wise, when the hack was going on, I was like, oh, my school's hacker was better than that. Just like it was in the back of my head.
Hello and welcome to the RugbyPass Offload with Max Lave and Ryan Wilson. There he is.
Hi there.
Shortly, we'll be joined by the recently retired Welsh star Josh Navidi to celebrate his career. First things first, Ryan, congratulations. Going to sound harsh, the greatest water boy in history. No, your Glasgow side into the first ever European final after beating the Scarlets 35-17.
I don't even think I was going to have the job of water boy, I'll be honest. And then suddenly got thrust into the scene. Richie Gray pulled out in the week and your old mate chucked onto the bench. And Franco, very kind of him, gave me all of 30 seconds. What a man. Thank you, Franco. 30 seconds.
Not bitter.
Didn't you take you took a line out and they scored from that, right?
Yeah, I pretty much got us like the bonus point, in a knockout game. Came on, beautiful lineup, well executed, little rap, little pill play that I was, big part of. But no, it was good. It was good to be down there. It was good to be involved. Big thanks to my old mate Richie Gray for pulling out and letting me get my 222nd cap for the club. Thank you. Thank you very much. It was very hostile. It was exciting. It wasn't a Scarlets I've been at for a while, because you can imagine there was a lot on the line for them. They're out of the league. They're done with the league. And obviously a lot of players leaving there, 18 odd players, I think it is, leaving this season with everything going on in Welsh rugby, which I'm sure we'll get onto in a bit with our old mate Josh Navidi. But there was a lot for them, and the crowd were very hostile. I got a lot of abuse and I enjoyed it. It was good fun. It was good fun. Could you imagine, obviously, when you're not getting on, Max, and there's like 5 minutes to go and you're stood like trying to get on the pitch and you're like, come on, just let me on. Some people behind me found that quite amusing, quite exciting. But you've just got to go with it. Smile and wave, boys, because I gave them a little bit back and they were like, wow. But yeah, the touch judge got very upset with me because I was like, come on, let me get on. And I ran on the pitch and he was like, no, come back. He was French. He was like, it's not funny, don't laugh. And I'm like laughing. He's like, you must stand behind the line. And I held on to his hand. I said, he's like, no, I must treat you like a child. I was like, mate, relax. I was like, I get a bonus, money. I said, I haven't got a job next year. And if I get on, I get, bonus. And he started laughing and he was my mate. So he let me go on after that. But yeah, 30-second cameo and got us our fifth try.
Did you see the punch up in the stands?
I did, yeah. So funny. Oh, I mean, terrible.
Well, talk us through what was going on.
Just a couple of meatheads. I think they were both Scarlets fans as well, by the sounds of it, the talk of the boys. But it just looked like a load of meatheads going at each other, and one of them's just gone swinging. You can see it, actually. We were going through our review today, and obviously Franco's trying to talk about the line out that's happening, but all of us just looking at the fight in the background. He's just swinging. Someone's got someone in a chokehold. They're all just going at it because it's standing, isn't it? Down the bottom. So it's quite a cool stadium. But I tell you what was quite sad, seeing all the boys that are leaving there. I mean, I was having a chat with like Lee Halfpenny after. He's like, he's not got anything at the moment. Like guys that have been there for so long that, I know quite well.
Just a quick word from you, right? Jack Dempsey, your teammate, saying that your boss Franco Smith is an incredible coach and that he's revolutionised the way that Glasgow play this year. Is he the best coach you've worked under?
This is interesting because I read this before and I said to Jack, I said, oh, that's interesting. Have a little read of my script that I've been sent. You've been brown-nosing the boss? And he said, I never said that. So I'm guessing it's someone within RugbyPass that's trying to eke something out of me. Dave Rennie was the best coach I've ever played under. And Dave Rennie. And Greg Townsend was pretty good when we won the 2015 final. But Dave Rennie was my favourite coach. That's what I'll say.
Nice.
Well, why not Franco? I mean, he's revolutionised Glasgow side. You're into your first ever European final.
You'd have to play to have played under him. And I've not played a huge amount under him, have I? So I can't say I've played a huge amount under him.
It's very prickly.
No, it's not. Come on. He watches the podcast. He told me.
Oh, fantastic.
Oh,
Hey, Franco, how you going? You good?
hi.
Why don't you play my boy Rye? Eh?
That's how he revolutionised the Glasgow side.
Man, he's done a good job, hasn't he? He's done a good job, but also, serve the players.
So, Rye, you'll be coming up against the likes of Cheslin Colby, Sergio Parise, and Dan Bigger when you take on Toulon in the final. Having seen them destroy Benetton with only 14 men for 75 minutes or so, are you confident you're going to get the job done?
Yeah, easy. Benetton weren't that good. They were pretty poor, actually. But yeah, we'll be fine. We'll be fine. Listen, like we said a few weeks ago, if there was someone I wanted to face in the final, you want it to be Toulon. You want to face the big teams with the big players.
You want all the big fellas.
I want them all in.
Fair.
So are you talking from the touchlines? It's just quite nice to see them all.
Exactly.
A quick one on Parise's grubber kick to set up the first try.
Filthy. Absolutely. It looks so outrageous as well, the way he just like fenced his leg out there, like the thrust. Just whoosh-ah, and you just knew it was ordained to score. Yeah,
there was a few. He did a little chip and chase, put one over the top for someone as well. I was watching the game, just thinking.
Probably did it with like a durry in the gob as well.
Yeah, guys just
died it. You know what I mean? What? Yeah, Faria, class player, still got it. How old is he now?
39.
39.
Oh, that's
39. I know. Gives me hope. Easy. I'll go to
till the wheels come off, baby. Yeah.
Right, let's move on for the European entrees. Two semi-final clashes we saw between Leinster and Toulouse and La Rochelle and Exeter. Let's start in Dublin. The incredible Leinster side thrashing the five-time winners, 41-28.
I don't think Toulouse put the best Toulouse out there on the day. Is that all down to Leinster? Potentially, but Leinster are damn good. Let's not go Ori on there. But I thought I was a bit disappointed with Toulouse. Like they played about half an hour rugby. They started quite brightly, and then it, as Leinster do, they just sort of went through the gears and pumped them. But bit of a shame. But yeah.
There's a few soft tries, wasn't there? Like that one where Matey throws it off of someone's dish and it bounces into his hands. Little one where they go down the short side. Tony gets out of Van der Fleer, just easy. That Gibson Park.
So good, by the way.
Gibson Park's outstanding. He's such a good player. And he just, when he comes back that short side and flings it across about six people, gets it to Van der Fleer, who just puts Conan away. They're very good, Leinster.
Mate, Conan was unbelievable, wasn't he? My God.
La Rochelle will take on Leinster in repeat of last year's final after they beat Exeter 47-28. Max, do you think that was a reflective scoreline of the match?
Yeah, it was consummate. I think they were unstoppable, really. Like Soutini was unbelievable. Worf again, but more so on the attacking side of the pool this game. And then you got like Antonio just dominating up front. Like the set piece was hilarious, and then obviously Skelton's doing what Skelton does around the line out. But yeah, it was Jouet, that's for sure. Like they were just playing heads up, having a crack. It was class. Raymond Rule was on everything. In
terms of the atmosphere, that's where you want to be playing rugby. You want to be playing for La Rochelle at home.
Yeah.
It just looks another level, doesn't it? The whole city kicks off, the fans. That's where you want to be playing rugby for La Rochelle, I reckon.
Yeah, and you get cool headed Estache as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, what's it all about at the end of the day, Max?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And La Rochelle's delightful, no doubt.
Being big Willie Skelton down there, just
Keys to the city. Does what? Yeah, what a
just living the life, smoking durries, drinking red wine. Beautiful, beautiful little town. Wandered down to the market, maybe on your little bike with a little basket on the front.
Cat like quazzies. Yeah, how good. Yeah.
Six or seven baguettes in the morning, the big fella.
Yeah.
Oh. Aside from a day in the life of Will Skelton in La Rochelle, what do they have to do to try and sort of disrupt the Leinster machine?
Just get Big Willie working hard and you'll be all right.
No, but it is actually, he is part of the equation for no doubt. So it'll be coming down to disrupting set piece. I reckon that's their into this game. 100% like scrum line out. They got to get there, get Gregory Aldred on the front foot, like off the base, get Antonio wheeling forward. Because I think that matchup, Booger, it's him up against obviously Porter, Tig, and Sheehan. I think they might have the edge there. So scrum times, they've been pretty irresistible there. So I think that's where they get it done.
Especially in the line-out, get Big Willie going hard. He can he can penetrate some seams.
Fucking say, why you beat me to it? I wanted to go there. I wanted to go there first. Yeah, Big Willie penetrates the seam all day. Yeah, that is his superpower. So he's the ultimate shredder of mauls. This is true.
Oh, I wish I could play for La Rochelle.
Jack Noel signed there. How good?
Has he?
Yeah, he's there next season.
Oh man, I'm so jealous. I would not need much money to go down to La Rochelle, just because lifestyle and like exactly what we've put down there. What Big Willie's doing.
You've still got to take into account the delicious salary cap they got going on there as well.
Yeah. Oh, listen. If they want to give me loads of money, I'll take loads of money. But I'm saying I would do it for not very much money, just to be able to say I sat down in La Rochelle and played there and could go down and have that coffee and the croissant the next day. Oh,
still getting your head kicked in for little money. So in any case, you don't mind.
You don't understand. Ryan enjoys that part of the game.
I love it.
Yeah, he's like, that Homer Simpson episode where he's about to fight Mike Tyson. That's him. He just loves it. Like, that's all good.
I would love to do a whole season where I didn't have to train, just did walkthroughs and just played constantly and just get absolutely battered.
I'm almost fully adopting that mindset as well. I think there's something to it.
Do you get pink bibs at training, Max?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
So, Mark, again, these are like gold dust. If you can get a pink bib on a Monday, you are baby. No contact, no morphs, no nothing all week. You get to just step out of anything that's sort of hard. And if you have a good relationship with the physios, these pink bibs come a little easier.
Yeah, but right, what if you're not playing frequently? Would you still advocate just not training?
No. Whoa. Pink bib off and melt motherfuckers left, right, and centre.
Yeah, so if you're starting every week, you'd be like, no training, essentially.
Yeah, like Big Richie Gray, that's him. He comes in Monday.
I feel like that's actually, I think that's allowed.
Yeah.
I think that's a thing. Francois Lowe is essentially that guy at Bath. I think he just put his shoes on Thursday, and then he was like, you never win a game on Thursday, Monday, Tuesday. Leon said it.
Exactly.
I do have to drag us back towards a few enjoyable or interesting topics of conversation. The highlight of the weekend, arguably, of course, the England ladies side winning the Six Nations Grand Slam in front of over 50,000 fans at Twickenham in an incredibly exciting 38-33 match. Thoughts, boys? Or actually, Stephen Jones of the Times calling it probably the best women's test ever played.
Yeah, but I thought it was done at half time, so I was kind of like, oh, well, that's it. It was like 33 schnoot.
Yeah.
They'd done it, they'd had done and dusted by then. And I was like, oh, I'll see you later. But yeah, unbelievable turnout as well. It looked class.
Even like the walk in and all the fans again, everything you see on social media. Incredible. So good.
Yeah.
Good on them. Bloody good on them. I saw a load of things in social media in the week, and there was a lady that had played for England Women's previously, and they like finally got their names up in the Hall of Fame in there and stuff like that. So they're always going to win after that. After me saying they weren't last week as well. But yeah, is that five Grand Slams in a row now?
Yeah, 5 titles in a row. Yeah.
By the way, a little tip of the hat to the Scotland women's team as well, who also won very well up at a sold out a record crowd at Dam Health, and they also beat Ireland. So they finished the highest they've ever finished in their history. So good on you.
It is actually 4 out of 5 of those titles have been Grand Slams. But amazing for England, but is it perhaps not great for the competition as a whole?
Yeah, but what can you do about that? You can only control what you can control, and England can't make the opposition better. That's just up to the other sort of the other boards of rugby to bring the women's game up to scratch. Like England are just ahead, I suppose, in terms of professionalism and in the comp and stuff. Obviously, it would be better if it was more competitive, but at this point, it isn't. And who like winning more is for them. Why would they be like, oh no, I wish it was more competitive? No, they're just blitzing people. It must be class.
Let's just finish up on a few things happening. Don't know if you saw the article in the rugby paper this week suggesting Newcastle Sale and Leeds or Doncaster could be forming a club called North.
That's no good, is it? That's like some weird cosplay of Game of Thrones. We can't be doing that. That's backward stepping it. The North. Come on now.
Jon Snow.
Jon Snow.
King of the North.
The
No,
wildlings.
ridiculous.
The wildlings.
Why does Sale need to involve Sale and Newcastle need to involve?
Because they can't survive financially separately.
Sale
Genuinely, Sale are fine, aren't they? Sale are all right.
They get 5,000 people, I think, on average.
Oh, really?
In Newcastle with 4,500.
Oh, Max. What did Bristol get, Max? Go.
No idea. It's tasty though.
19,781.
On average?
Yeah.
Yeah, Ashton Gate's a party every time, baby.
Max, maybe you need to get out of the Premiership. Maybe you should come to the URC.
This is what happens when you borrow money that you can't. Yeah, you just keep borrowing, and look what happens. And now I suppose we'll be moving on to London Irish. Is that correct?
Oh, there he is, old Mystic Max over here. He called it in the week. Early doors. Who told you about that? Did they just come down the grapevine?
I think it was in my aliens group. I've got like a conspiracy theorist group. We just called aliens. Quite good fun. I think it was in that group. Got dropped in there, and then Joe Batley today was obviously a sort of a former Worcester warrior. Was reading about like an actual scenario of what's happened, and now they're getting delayed pay. And he was like, "Yep, that's how it starts." So they get apparently the pay slips get later and later, but it could be different with Irish. So we'll see what the crack is. But I don't know.
Rugby is.
I said that earlier.
No.
And it all falls down. That's what it is.
It's not looking good, fam. It's not looking good, bruv.
Let's say, okay, let's hypothetically say London Irish does fall down, right? Falls on its face, it's gone. And then the North, King of the North comes together, right? And they create their club. Then there's 9 left, am I right? I reckon they'll try and do a merger and try and get into the URC. And I think we'll have some sort of like Northern
Division.
Super Rugby division.
Oh, so there'll be divisions in the URC.
Why not? Why not bring them in? And finally, we can do our dirt on the Premiership teams who always bad mouth us.
No, that was a while
back. Bastards! You old bastards! Finally, we can have our comeuppance.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see it happening. Right, let's work it out quickly.
So we are in the death. So we agree we're in the death rattle of the Gallagher Premiership.
I think the URC hold the keys to everything.
Mm.
Only 8 of you are allowed in. That's our rules up in the URC. Again, not involved in it next year, but the rules in our comp, we're only allowed 8 of you lot into our league. So it's 24 teams now, and there's 2 divisions of 12. That works.
That does work. That works incredibly well.
It would be pretty cool, because then you get more games like Harlequins versus Stormers, and then you get the Leinsters versus Saracens more often. Oh, boys, I think
why would the European Cup ever allow that? Ever want that?
Not up to them. Like I said, it's not even going to be called the European Cup next year. So suddenly there's less rugby to be played. Oh my God. There's less rugby to be played, less on the body, more internationals.
Oh, he's onto something.
I think I've just solved rugby's issue.
Well, we are now delighted to be joined by Cardiff, Wales and Lions star Josh Navidi.
What's going on?
There he is. How you going, Josh? All good?
Yeah, all good. It's a busy day.
Well, what have you been up to? How come?
Richie just got back from the car garage I've got, so back to proper real world stuff. So yeah, straight into it.
Real life Terry Tibbs. Terry Tibbs.
Don't put me in that bracket.
Josh, did you roll straight into that then? Like literally since the announcement?
Yeah, so I've known for a while with my neck since February-ish. So kind of been like doing my rehab just to make sure I'm right outside of rugby, and then been building up the forecourt really, because we always used to do it to source, but now we got a forecourt office. So a month before I was finishing, I kind of was going there every day at like 8 o'clock and then leaving at 5. So a normal, like what we'd say, normal work really. But it's rolled quite like straight into it. It's been busy. It's been different because sometimes I could sit there do nothing, but like today, I didn't have like 20 minutes to myself. So yeah, it was just straight into it. So I do enjoy it. I've always done it myself, and then it's been easy because I'm a petrol head. I love my cars, so I've always looked for cars and always like flipped them. Like I had one for a year and sold it, try not to lose money on it.
We're going to start with that. Obviously, the sort of trauma of the last year, if you will. You know, having failed to recover from that serious neck injury, you know, you have announced that you're retiring. The whole thing was, in a way, to the public, quite a whirlwind. But as you said, you've known.
Yeah, so like obviously I got injured back in the summer tour, so in July. It wasn't getting right.
Was it degenerative? Was it just like wear and tear on the?
No, so in the last game, I had a bang, and then it just set it all off. And then every time I was making a tackle, I kept getting like stingers, shooting pains down my arm, numbness in my hand, and it's like having that. I was like, oh, there's something not right here. As soon as I got back, we had a scan. Could see like it was like pressure on the nerve. Tried to inject it, that didn't work to settle it, and then I had the op, and it's fine day to day because I was driving. I wasn't going to have the op. I was driving. I was like, I can't live like this every day. Just like sat in the car for 20 minutes, and my arm was like feeling heavy and weak. And then had the op and seemed to clear that. So that was one step in the right direction.
Yeah, man, those chronic stingers are real. I had like this season it's cleared up, but the last couple of seasons I was, mate, every shot on that right side, if your neck got slightly put back into that corner, just ping, and then you just feel it, just all that like that battery acid feeling down the whole arm. Like,
it's hard to describe it, isn't it? It's
Yeah,
like
it's
someone
like
poking a hot iron into your neck.
Yeah, the only positive is you have to start living off amitriptyline. I do love my dreams when I take amitriptyline.
Yeah, I try and stay away from that because, like, I heard
is that a benzo?
Side effects and stuff.
That's a benzodiazepine, isn't it? Yeah, you don't want to be that old boy.
It's
that
two that you can take. Yeah.
They give you some weird old dreams. Because again, dodgy shoulders, the old slopes, and they give you some very strange dreams, some very strange ones. How old are you, Josh?
32.
32. Yeah. What if you could, right? How long would you have gone for though? Would you have tried to absolutely?
Nah, like I was saying, like I'll go to World Cup, see where I am body wise, and then make a decision there. Because I had another year at Cardiff, so I've always said I'd like to go abroad, just experience different culture, lifestyles, and stuff. But like it's cut short. But I've always gone like it's a certain point that you don't want to be fighting every time you're going on the field, like in body and bits. Like I've always looked after my body to be okay for game day, but you do have niggles when you've played in the past. You all know what it's like, but it's just I would have said World Cup and then see where I am there really, because you can play you can play until you're 40 if you really want to. Some guy I met the other day, he's like, yeah, I retired when I was 55. I was like, oh my God, that makes me feel sick.
I don't. I saw Ken Owens, the sheriff, at the weekend, and he was telling me he's still got 2 years. I was like, you are kicking the life out of it, man.
He's 60, isn't he?
At least. There's no way. He told me he's only 36. I was like, Ken, man, stop bullshitting yourself.
Bro, he's got good, though. He's still got it. Like, he's still going well, man.
Like
he's always
his body around as well.
Yeah.
Like, the way he plays, you think, how does he keep on doing it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Josh, is there an element though that your last game was that test against South Africa, and when you look back, you can say that you were part. You ended not necessarily on a high. You didn't win the test, but it was, at the most ferocious arena that it could have ever happened.
I don't know. I haven't really thought about it that way yet. I think I will, because finishing internationally, like you always say, like the highest level you can play at. yeah, and it was a good tour. Like I didn't start any of the first two, and then Toby dropped out in the last game because he had some problems. So yeah, I started that game, and then now I'll blame him for it. Then my injury. But yeah, it's one of them. Like playing against Africa in their home patch, and the series was on the line. I think it was a good way to end it. I think I mean I did play 80 minutes. Yeah, my arm was hanging on, and going every time I was making tackles, but. Yeah, it's a good way to end. Like we lost, but no, they're the games that you want to be playing. Like every time you say, like, I'd rather be playing a tough game than an easy one.
In a weird way, doesn't it feel like a lifetime ago just for Wales in general, right? You know, such a tumultuous year kind of since then, sexism rows, rafts of players leaving the domestic clubs, pay disputes, players threatening to strike, budget cuts. You know, you've been around for 15 odd years. How have things gone from that tour to now, where it just seems to be in such disarray?
Yeah, we always call it Project Reset. They called it something else this time, but it's like it happened 6 years ago when they said all this banding system, so it was meant to stop like boys getting paid more, etc., etc. And like we've got another thing coming in now, and you feel for the boys that are coming out of contract because it wasn't like say a business plan. You have a business plan, you have it over 3 years, and you go right. We need to get here by year 3. It was like right, this happening now. They didn't finalize it till late, and then the boys who were getting offered contracts were getting offered. Well, you could go to any job and like not put your body on the line and earn that type of money. So I think that's the hard thing. And then you worry as well, like boys got short mortgages because as a rugby player, you can't get long-term mortgages. And then you got bills to pay, like family and stuff. And the frightening thing is the boys out of contract were waiting for the offer on the table and say it wasn't coming. They look elsewhere, and then say you do look to England or wherever, that you were getting offered less. Like some boys who were still in contract were lucky, but then it was kind of like, I know in the Wales camp, it was kind of like half divided. Like some boys wanted to strike, some didn't. But if we did strike, the Welsh game would have crumbled because they wouldn't have had revenue from the England game, and then vice versa. You're putting pressure on the WRU and all the PRB, etc., to make a decision because that's where it all lied down to. And I know they've gone with a 25 cap rule now, but like some boys have already signed before that and could miss out on playing internationally.
It's all a bit funny in as far as someone like Henry Thomas, he's currently playing abroad, 7 caps, can be selected. And you got someone incredibly promising in 20-year-old Joe Hawkins with 6 caps. He's not going to be selected. He's moving to Exeter. But the uncapped Max Llewellyn moving to Gloucester can be like, what? How does it feel inside?
Yeah, it's always someone who gets made an example. Say, oh, if you sign this and you had a cap, you can't play for Wales. But like it went from 60 to 25. And when you're a youngster coming through, you ideally want to develop, like play for your country at the end of the day. And to be told that you can't play because you've had a couple of caps and you've signed for a club where he's going to progress. And I know Exeter, a very good team, and he'll develop there, but he's missing out on possibly going to a World Cup in a couple of months' time, which is, for me, like World Cup was always the pinnacle. And then you look, someone who's playing in France got X amount of caps for England, being able to go into the Welsh squad for the World Cup camp. So it is berserk. It is like, I mean, it does sometimes sum up Welsh rugby.
I just think it just seems to make sense to just scrap it, get rid of it. I mean, Scotland don't have it, and it works for us. Most of the players still come from within the clubs, but it opens up a load of opportunities for younger players to come through in Wales, and you get more people playing professionally. So you can outsource most of those players and get them playing overseas in France, in England. They're still going to play at a good level, and you get more chance of players playing in. So just get rid of it. Would you get rid of it altogether?
Yeah. So back when the 60 cap rule came, it was they were going to do like 150 cap for your club. So like the older boys, it's fair enough if you've done 10 years at your club, you could move on and earn money elsewhere if you wanted to. But like the cap rule does, like it suffocates it, like you said, like go let the older boys like go elsewhere, or boys who have been around for a while, let them go elsewhere, play for a different league, experience, and then it does let youngsters come through, because you'll see now in Wales like how many youngsters will have to step up. Because I remember the same time it happened with Cardiff, when you had the likes of Rushy, Tito, and all them, Martin Williams, they all left the same year. So it was like the handful of us who are still at the club now, like Lloyd Williams, we came through fairly young, and there was kind of a big gap between senior boys, and there was a lot of youngsters coming through. So the transition's same as that, which you'll see more youngsters come through, but then is going to be, you need some senior players there to help nurture them through and develop them. And it's always something going on in Wales. That's the mad thing. And you just think how easy it would be just to go, yeah, you can go abroad, but then if you stay in Wales, you're getting looked after, like health-wise, how many games you're playing a year and stuff like that. Instead of like, you go to France, you're playing every game. It doesn't matter if your arm's hanging off by a thread, you're still playing. So you sum it up that way, how you feel about it.
What do you feel the answer is to current conundrum in Welsh rugby?
I like, to me, it makes sense to have like some sort of like 3-year business plan idea that it does filter down. So like the boys who are coming through now, or who are out of contract, again offered something decent, and then say boys have got a year, 2 years left, everyone by year 3 is on the same level playing field. But the cap rule is always going to be a hard one, and as a player you don't want that to be there, because it does say you haven't had 25 caps. Like I just reached just over 30 when I retired, and 60 caps was a lot. So you've done a long time playing for Wales, but like 25 is probably more achievable when you think about all the games you play here. You've got Six Nations, autumn, summer tour. You could easily do that in 2 seasons. But then they'll probably change it again. It depends how many, I reckon it depends how many boys will be close to that. That's what happened with us with the 150 cap for your club. It was like, I think it was like 25 of us who were past, like coming up to 150 club for our regions. And then they kind of said, oh no, we're not doing that, because a lot of boys would have left, which probably I would have been one of them. I would have gone and experienced this somewhere, but I'm happy to have been a one club person. And I'm glad I didn't go away, because I say I didn't get picked up or injuries or whatever. I was playing a lot. I was happy to like make sure I'd done the right decision, to be honest.
So you don't think get rid of the cap rule? I think it's
I reckon, yeah. I would say, yeah, as a player, you'd love to, but as say to look after players, I think to keep players in Wales is that way. But then it is hard, because like the budgets have been suffocated, and we have, like next year, I know Cardiff, we're cutting down our squads, and like 17 or 18 players are leaving.
Wow.
And you to compete, you look at Leinster. I don't know if this figure's right, but I heard it. They got like 50 odd, 60 boys on their roster. But then when you look at Cardiff, we had like 40 odd. So if you're looking like to rotate players, like say 3 games, make sure they're fresh and stuff, you can't do it. Like do it with, I think we're going down to 36. And that's
we just mentioned exactly the same there just before you came on, that I was speaking to Cubby, and Scarlets has got something like 32 for next season at the moment. You're not gonna last. We use 52 players on average a season at Glasgow.
Yeah,
and that's used. So we're probably up at about 60, to be fair, with in the squad, including academy. We use 52 players a year. You can't get through with 32, 36 players. No way.
It's not looking good, bro.
Retired at the right time, I think.
Yeah, no, we were saying this about the Prem as well, though, like clubs falling through the gaps. Like maybe rugby's dying, lads.
Stop saying that.
Maybe we're in the death
This is a rugby
rattles.
podcast, Max. We can't get it done.
I know, I'm feeling existential today, all right? I just heard a lot of Irish players about to just revisit the Worcester timeline of demise. So, sorry. No, there's a solution, and we'll find it on this pod today, now. Yeah.
Josh, let's take you back to happier days where you've been on quite some journey throughout your career, but nothing compared to your father, Hedy, who escaped Iran during the Iranian Revolution in 1979 and had to give up his dream of becoming an Olympic wrestler. Like, correct me if I'm wrong, although he was on his way to becoming an Olympic wrestler, is that right?
Yeah, so my dad, sporting-wise, is a mad head, so he used to wrestle. So if I go further on, he used to play football quite highly in Iran so he left when he was 18, so just before that, and he used to wrestle at the same time. And then his dad sent him over here to study because he was like getting involved in the revolution and all that. So like 1979, he came over. So he caused carnage, fled the country, and came back since, but never went back. But yeah, so his background is wrestling, so I think that's where I get some of my stuff from. But yeah, he done quite well. When he came over here, he came fifth in the British Open, so which is fairly decent standard. Yeah, I wouldn't have wanted to wrestle him, but he always wanted to go to Olympics, but his dad kind of sent him on the education path, and yeah, he had my brother, then he used to coach, and then he stopped doing it then. So he coached the Wales national team, and he took the British squad for one training session, and he made them sick and of diarrhea as well. So yeah. So it's the reigning way how they train now. So he's taken me for 2 training sessions before wrestling style, and yeah, they're horrific. They are bad.
I was going to say, who would win in a wrestle, you or him?
Now me.
Yeah.
The strength. It got to a stage when I was about 16, because I was getting a bit bigger and stronger than him. I could just use my strength. But like, if you'd done it properly on mats, I reckon he trained a little bit, he probably would have ended up putting me on my back, to be honest, because it's all technique. You can say when it in, you could easily do it. It's all about like the technique and stuff. Like if you watch UFC and stuff, you look at the wrestlers, and the people who know it can just flick people straight away, and the people who really struggle with it, as soon as they get into that wrestling side, they really struggle. So it's all about like the techniques, hand positioning, leg positioning, body weight, all sorts.
I even get tired in the gentleman's agreements that I have when we have to do it.
Yeah, like you wink, you give each other like.
I'm not even doing anything. I'm getting tired. I'm like,
yeah.
Don't flip them
like, yeah, and you got to just flip each other like burgers and then get through it. Yeah.
Yeah, my turn on top. My turn on top.
It's like every other in it. Yeah, we'll swap.
Yeah.
Everyone's been there then.
Yeah, coaches can see straight through it, but I couldn't care less. Whereas Max, I can imagine you trying to fucking kill everyone.
Oh, I like to have it. Like, if I'm feeling it, I'll give it a crack. I'll pair with someone who's a bit of a warrior and just have a go, because I do enjoy it. But I find wrestling the hardest thing ever, especially when you're against someone who's a lot better than you. It's like swimming with a shark and you can't swim. It's terrible.
Hey, that's our next challenge. I reckon we get down to a wrestling gym menu.
We go down to the rest and get the leotards on. Mate, we have to wear the spandex costumes though.
Oh, you're right.
Fighting.
Who is the ultimate wrestler that you've come across in your careers?
I know Andy Powell, we used to do like a gauntlet thing, but I went there at the time, and he stayed in you normally chuck one in, pin next person,
go to the hill, yeah.
He stayed in there for ages. But Bobby, the Welsh conditioning coach, he went to Commonwealth, so boys always try and wrestle him, and he got no chance.
Yeah, apparently he's a savage. I've heard. Yeah,
he's only 60 kilos, but. Yeah, he's a lunatic as well. Good guy, real good guy. But yeah, he always shows the videos, and he's unbelievable.
See, Matt Stevens did very well as in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He'd be handy on the floor. And then Sam Bedlow at Bristol, he's definitely done some League of Shadows stuff. He's learned some things. I've wrestled with him a few times. There's something going on there. It's a bit weird. Very good. Most of the time it's too tiring, like Rai said. Just you have no interest in getting into it. It's just so taxing, but it's quite good fun.
I go against all the rules as well, like fingers up bum holes and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
Just
I'll always
Why,
get
why is that always your opening move?
no,
I don't understand.
no. It's like
an oil
when
check
to
will get a guy moving differently. Like they'll let go of position. It'll be like, oh, what was that?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
Like to get out of a hole. You know what I mean? The coach is there's like, get out of it, come on, fight. And it's just like, right. Or a little nut grab or something like that.
Remember, Charlotte Britt said he was. That would make sense because he said he was wrestling at quite a good level at high school, and that makes sense because he moved around like an absolute freak show of an athlete.
We did have a professional wrestler come over. He plays at Old Glory, Corey Daniels. He came over in pre-season, and obviously everyone was so excited because he was college champ wrestler. So when we did the old ground and pound, everyone was so excited. They're like, hey, get Corey Daniels in there. They're like proper Americans, like, no boys, I'm college wrestler, baby. And he'd get in there and absolutely love it. But he also, I'm sure I told you boys this, he auditioned for the WWE and like got through a few things, but he failed at the acting bit.
Yeah, you see, that's the thing, innit? You need that gift of the gab to go the full. I reckon you could just get by just being a big freaky person, so long as you're charismatic. You could just walk around the ring. But like,
There you go, Max.
Oh,
Yeah.
Max, you could 100%
Mate.
transition into WWE.
Shall I be a heel?
Oh.
Yeah, let's do it. What should I call myself? The Duke? No, I don't know. The Duke. I've been thinking about this. Yeah.
I bet you have thought about it.
No, I haven't. I haven't really.
Max, you could 1,000,000% get into the WWE. There's a show in that. I reckon we get Max Leaf into the WWE.
Documentary for the wrestling boot camp training school. I'm down.
Yeah.
I'm down. Let's do it. RugbyPass presents.
Josh is like, what the fuck's going on?
Guys, let's move on from that and go back to Josh, please, the star of our show for today. I've heard you have got ambitions to visit Iran, but when you were playing, that wasn't possible due to a loophole in the fact that you'd be forced to stay in the country for 2 years. Talk us through it.
Yeah, so national service, like a lot of countries have them, but because of my surname, you'd get flagged up in the airport or something. So I haven't been able to go over there. I was looking before COVID to try and get like a working visa that I could go coach, because rugby's getting a bit bigger, sevens is getting bigger out there as well. So I wouldn't mind trying to go over there and coach a little. And I thought that might be like my little pass to get into Iran and see a bit where my dad's from, experience a bit of culture. So fingers crossed I get a chance to do it. But it just COVID happened. It's been on the back burner now. But yeah, it'd be nice to go out there, experience what like my dad talks about, where he's from and stuff, and just to experience like going out there because it's meant to be an amazing country and food especially.
Talk to me about the food. What sort of food is it?
So it's like a lot, like normally what my dad cooks is like a lot of lamb, chickpeas, kebabs, usual like kind of like Turkish style because it comes from Iran, but yeah, rice. That's why I grew up, rice and chicken basically.
Mate, car dealership, put it on the back burner. 2 years in the army. Why not? Head out there.
I've always fancied myself on COD, so I think I'll give it a good.
This is so different. God. Obviously, you grew up in Wales. You play for your local club. There's a chance encounter with Jonah Lomu and some pretty big repercussions from what was a conversation.
Yeah, so I was a big fan of Jonah growing up. Like, always wanted to like go to New Zealand and play and all that. And then randomly, I think it was 2002, maybe 2001. It was a evening with Christian Cullen and Jonah Lomu, and I didn't realize at the time. Like my dad's like, we're dressing up in these like black tie stuff. Like I'm 11 at the time, all suited and booted, going up, and then walked upstairs, and then you see it. I was blown to pieces, like, and it was unreal. And then I got a signed jersey by him and Christian Cullen, and then my dad, being my dad, sat down with him for about half hour, probably even longer. I think it could be an hour, just asking, "Oh, what do you think of him? Like his shape wise and all that. Where should I take him to in New Zealand?" And then he just hammered, like being in Christchurch. So then, I don't know, 6 years later, I ended up going out there after my last GCSE exam. Went out there, ended up at St. Bede's, played like 2 seasons there. We won the South Island Cup when I was there, and then we went up and played top 4 and we finished 3rd. So yeah, it was an amazing experience. I was close to staying out there, got like offers from Canterbury and stuff for academy, but at the end of the day, if I stayed out there, it'd be like longer on my path to try and get to where I want to, like internationally wise, which I did have a big break. I had 1 cap and then 4 years without another cap, but yeah.
Just talking about the New Zealand experience first. How much more seriously do Kiwis take their rugby at schoolboy level?
Oh, it's ridiculous. Like, it's catching up here. Like, I always say, like, a coach came to us and they said, oh, Wales is 5 years behind New Zealand. So, like, when I was in, what was it, 2007, like, you had an all-boys school on the Sunday. It'd be all the school, or Saturday, it'd be all the school boys who were boarded there would be watching the first 15 play, and all they wanted to do was play for the first 15 and be a Kiwi and play rugby. But then you walk down the street and you could speak to like a 10-year-old kid and they would know everything, what's going on, who's playing, who played well on the weekend. They live and breathe it. Similar to Wales, but I think just the systems, academy and all that, because when I was over there, my dad ended up knocking on Canterbury, like Crusaders' door, and they invited us in and spoke like 2 hours, sat us down and showed us what they'd done doing the academy, the players had come through. In New Zealand, it was massive. Like, you play first 15 rugby, you go from that, play for Canterbury, and then you go on, play for New Zealand schoolboys. So you have that stepping stone. But like, it's slowly coming here where colleges are having like their little academy systems in the college, and then you go from that college end to Cardiff Blues, and it's easy transfer, but you're still like getting your education, and then you go through Cardiff into Wales under 18s, 20s, and so forth. So
the whole family didn't move over there, did they?
No, so me and my dad went first. Just my dad booked the flight. So I finished my GCSEs. 2 days later, we booked the flight, just ended up in an Airbnb. And then like the jet lag and all that wrote us off. My dad's like, right, we need to go now, start finding a place to like live, like rent, and then find where to be school-wise, and went from there really. So like, yeah, they were just like completely invested. That's why I went with St. Bede's, and I can't thank the people enough there. They were so good, like all the staff, like boys I met there. Yeah, it was class.
It is goodness.
Just on that then, so your old man, he was like fully invested in you, mate. Have you got brothers and sisters?
Yeah, so I got a brother, but he's like polar opposites, hairdresser.
I was going to say, it sounds like the rest of them have just been parked. He's like, right, fuck you lot. This one's making it. I'm taking him with me.
No, my dad's a big sporting guy. And I remember like back in the day, he's like, oh, like we were going to like go over to New Zealand and do that. And we were just driving up to North Wales because we had family up there. And me and my dad used to go up in the van and loading the van up with whatever we need to. And then my brother and my mum would come up separate, so we'd always have 2 cars. And just randomly, I remember, he's just like, I remember the road, it's like an A470 halfway up. He goes, oh, do you still want to go to New Zealand? I'm like, oh yeah. He's like, all right, okay, we'll go end of this year. So this is like start of school now. So it's really kicking off with like Ospreys, like Cardiff Blues, like age range stuff. So I was 16 at the time. And then I did have trials for Ospreys, but my dad was like, oh, if you're good enough, they'll come get you, kind of thing, because we knew I was going to New Zealand that year. So like, they didn't come, but I was a little bit like, oh, I should have gone. But like in the long run, I was like glad I went out there, and it's just, oh, it was unreal.
That's amazing, eh? So your old man was almost like your agent, I suppose, and he knew what was going. What did you feel a bit of a pressure from like getting over there, thinking, shit, I better do this? Like if he's brought me all the way out
it
here.
wasn't like, it was more an experience thing, I think. Not like my parents have never been pushy in any way.
Yeah,
like,
that's class.
They love sport, and that's the big thing, is just like sports being a big part of my dad's life.
Yeah, nice.
I think we're all loving him.
Wait, can I ask, Josh? When did you get the dreads? Were you inspired by New Zealand culture for the dreads?
No, I used to love Tana, see. So that's where I think it's come from.
Oh, okay,
A little bit. I've always wanted dreads and stuff. And then we went to Dominican, came back, and I was looking online on how to do dreads and all that. I was looking to buy like a kit, like a type of wax. But we ended
back combing.
Yeah, but my mum's a hairdresser, so she said, I know how to do it. So she done it, but used, remember Dax wax?
Yeah.
So she used that, and it's probably the wrong stuff because it's got petroleum in it, and it just makes it greasy, so we're stopping matting. But anyway, they came from that. So we spent 4 hours doing them, and I just haven't cut them since. So I think my wife would go a bit nuts if I did it as well, I think. I've always been threatening, so if she misbehaves, I tell her.
Boys, why did we not think of this before I cut my hair off? We could have done dreadlocks. It was down past my shoulder. It was like there.
I know, I remember.
You remember because when we played Cardiff last, when I had it, one of the boys came in the change room because Brad told me. I think it might have been chicken or something. I was like, sorry, get that fucking top knot prick and fucking Because
you know what you're like? You're always into everyone, weren't you? So.
It was funny. Brad came out like smiling and laughing. It was like the boys at halftime were fucking losing their shit.
Josh, have you come up a few times against Ryan?
Yeah, a couple of times, didn't you?
Yeah,
players always in your ear like this.
He was usually being rested though with that, you know what I mean? Because he was the big dog. They'd always rest him whenever we went down to play Cardiff. But we'll have had a few battles back in the day.
Yeah.
I remember playing Josh once. I had a top knot back then as well, ironically. In the Champions Cup, we had the Cardiff one time. Yeah, he came to the wreck. I can't remember the whole team. Stevie Shingler, Sam Warburton was playing. Yeah, it was a pretty loaded team actually. Yeah.
Sure, that's when I cut my year.
No, you still had someone. You still had some kind of party at the back. Yeah, you never forget those puppies. Like you've been resolute with those your whole career. That was even more impressive. A lot of guys just sort of chop and change it, don't they?
Yeah,
let's actually stick with Josh's career now, though, because we've had so much good wrestling and hair chat, guys. I'm thrilled. But
that's what people want to hear about.
Exactly.
All right. We've done it. We've done it well. Yeah. So let's talk about Josh making his debut in 2013 for Wales against Japan in Japan. And those of you listening or watching might recall that Wales actually lost that game. But Josh...
a good start, was it?
Yeah, he had a great... you broke your nose. You were knocked out.
Yeah.
So take us through the debut.
It was emotional. Wasn't the best after, but like to get your first cap, it means the world to you. And it's the game that you always strive to. And as soon as you have that first cap, you're like, oh, not pressure's off, but I got like... in the anthem, I remember looking up and I got really emotional. Like I don't get nervous for games. And in the morning, I was like feeling a bit nervous. And I got to the game and I remember like singing the anthem and just seeing my parents. And I was like, got emotional. I'm not an emotional person, but for some reason I got emotional. And then, played. It was so warm. The humidity was ridiculous. It was like the hottest game I've ever played in. And they played in Japan. They know what they were doing. 2:00 kickoff, middle of summer, and it was horrific. And they played them like when South Africa lost to Japan in the World Cup, it was a weight off my shoulders. But yeah, it wasn't the best start, but you always look back at your first cap, and to be honest, it's probably the worst game I've ever played as a player. To get knocked out, having a bleeding nose, maybe concussion as well, and then not being able to sing my song with the boys or have a beer after. And then I had to do in the morning, like everyone stood up, everyone sat down, and I just had to stand there singing. And I done Patched and Country Roads before, and it's the only song I really know, like word for word. So I done Reggae Sauce. So yeah, so I was that was my song.
You did have a fair amount of time to reflect on that debut, with 4 years in between your second cap against Tonga. But then after that, you were Wales' standout player for 3 seasons running. But how tough were those 4 years in the wilderness?
I get asked all the time. And like the first squad selections, I think it would have been autumn. I was like obviously disappointed. And then, because normally you just get you find out on Twitter for all things. Sometimes you get an email half hour before, which they normally do, but you don't look at it. And then normally find out through Twitter. So the first two, Autumn and Six Nations, I was disappointed. But I was playing all right. I was playing okay rugby. And then just in the back of my head, I was like, at the end of the day, I need to play well for Cardiff. And the red jersey will eventually come. And if it didn't come, it didn't come. But I was enjoying my rugby with Cardiff. And then just before I started kicking off, I was thinking about going elsewhere, maybe just experience something else. And then it came thick and fast from 2017.
Something that probably has come up a lot with you, but none other than Steve Hansen, the All Blacks boss, famously saying to Warren Gatland, who had shunned you for that amount of time after your man of the match performance for Wales in a loss to the All Blacks. Who the fuck is that guy with dreadlocks? Where did you get him from?
Gats told me the story, and Alan Phillips used to be the manager of Wales. It's a bit weird one because it was my first home game. We played Australia. I done all right, and then I think it was New Zealand our second game then, and for some reason, when it just clicks and everything goes right, and you have one of those games. And I've always, because I went out there and played against them, and then mentally wise, when the haka was going on, I was like, oh, my school's haka was better than that. Just it was in the back of my head. And it was always a psychology thing. When it came to the haka, it goes back to the schools. If you knew your haka was better than theirs, you had one up on them already. So I think it transferred to that, and it was a really good game. It was my type of style of game, open, physical, and it just suited me to a T. And yeah, I loved every minute of it. And when you get comments like that from an All Blacks coach, and the way he said it, I think they were in Nice or somewhere like that, or Monaco. Yeah, it was amazing. And yeah, it's crazy from there on, really, because that's where I think maybe I cemented who I was internationally to the way, to Gats and all them. Because I understand, if you watch my first cap, you'd be like, oh no, he's not international standard. But then it started to flick and change, and maybe I wasn't ready then for my first cap. But then after that, I felt like it just transferred over.
Your USP, I thought, was always Jacqueline. You were absolute menace over the ball. And then there was obviously Tipperick, who was out and out 7. But I remember seeing you and him in a Wales team together, thinking that's a nightmare all day long at the breakdown. You boys love playing together, right?
Yeah, it's just you balance off each other. If you've got a very balanced back row, and if I know he's Jacqueline somewhere, I know the next ruck you can get the next ruck or next phase or something like that is always something, because that's why it worked well with Cardiff. You had me, Ellis, and Warby, 3 7s.
Yeah.
If someone wasn't Jacqueline one phase, it'd be the next phase, the next phase, the next phase after that. And it's hard to stop, because at the end of the day, possession's massive. And if you can't get that momentum and on the front foot, and playing with Tips, he's heavy over the ball. Even Toby, he's not known for it, but he does slow the ball down. And with Cardiff this year, he's been outstanding over the ball. But as a back rower, everyone should jack. Even most of the pack should be able to Jacqueline.
Never again.
Right, don't stop now, mate. Don't stop now.
No, after I blew my knee out a few months ago, but I'm never going near Jackal ever again.
It's always been a big thing in Cardiff that,
yeah,
I don't know why Jacqueline, but it's it's a big moment in the game that you can go back to. And sometimes boys look at stats and stuff just to get the numbers up. But then if you're not doing it at the right time, you're missing out on a foul around the corner, wherever. But it was at one point, it was just ridiculous. It was I don't know how many jackals attempts we had in one game, and then how many actual turnovers we got. You're boys, you need to be a bit sensible about this. I'm sure it was one stat. I don't know how many games it was. It was probably 5 games. One of the boys had 30 jackals with no turnovers. It's you can't. We had to pick who was Jacqueline then, and who was to slow it down, just fire through the ruck or choke tackles. So yeah.
Josh, you received the ultimate honour in 2021 when you called up to represent the British and Irish Lions on their tour to South Africa. Obviously, COVID tour, but in between the empty stadiums and restrictions, what were your highlights?
We didn't have much. It was just in the bar getting drunk. You could play. When we were down in Cape Town, we had a golf course on our hotel, and then we just had unlimited supply of red wine and beer. So there's only two things you can really do. But no, it was good crack. It's a lot different to obviously previous tours. It'd be nice to actually the fans being out there, seeing the sea of red. And actually going to experience it, even if you're not playing, you can go out, have a beer. That's what it's all about. It's meeting boys from other countries, and you all come to one. And it was the same, but it's obviously different. And met some all the guys on tour were amazing and top blokes. It's just a good laugh.
Who was the best value on tour?
Sinks was his positivity is unreal, and he's always just for recovery, and he used to be I was DJing, he'd be an MC, and you'd just be there constantly. I'd have to turn it down halfway through just so everyone can listen to the music. But no, just the stuff he'd come out with, it was unreal. Yeah.
Did you ever block boys in the sauna and just keep them in there? Staying with daddy, staying 20 minutes longer, just staying in, and he just slap you. He'd be butt naked in there, just getting you to stay in. Oh mate,
I can't believe how much he loved the sauna, because he'd be going down now. I'm we're playing in a couple of hours or something like that. But
Japan changed
he drove it. He full on drove it.
Yeah.
But he loved it. Yeah, he loved his sauna. He's fuming because it broke one day, so he couldn't actually use it. And he's like, "When's it on? When they're fixing it?"
He's a diva, isn't he? Diva.
How warm is it now? Oh, it's not hot enough and stuff like that. So
let's just sort of wrap it up, Josh, with your ultimate 15, please, of players you played with and against.
I went front row, Gethin Jenkins, Matthew Rees, Fal Felice. Obviously played all them at Cardiff. And then Alwyn Jones, he's just an absolute warrior. Bakkies Botha, played against him Toulon game. Felice, Hooper, and of course Toby Faletau. Just unreal player. Just play that back row would be a nasty back row. You go Thomas Williams from Cardiff and Wales. Best skills scrum half I've ever seen. He's ridiculous. His background is basketball. Dan Bigger, just the championships we've won with him, and just his professionalism and the player he is and the competitor. I've gone with him 10, but I did say Faz as well. When we were on tour of the Lions, I'm playing against him, against Saris a couple of times. George North, been there for so long. Gitu played against Toulon at home. That was a hell of a game. We won, but it was just unreal playing against people you idolised. My first cap, Brian O'Driscoll for Cardiff in Leinster. No bad way to start. We nearly won that game. I nearly scored. I was about that far from the whitewash, and we nearly won that. It's a difficult place to go, but it's the closest I've ever come to actually winning out there. And then Gareth Thomas, Alfie, and Lee Halfpenny fullback. Sorry, it's a lot of Welsh based, but I'm a little bit biased there.
Patriot man. Good.
It works.
Good.
It works, Josh. Right. The final quick fire, first thing that comes into your head, best player you ever played with?
I always say Alwyn Jones. I'd say Alwyn Jones and Gethin Jenkins.
Best player you ever played against?
Ryan, Hamish Watson, he's coming up against him, you know what you're having, so yeah, Hamish.
Wrecking ball.
Yeah.
Right. So weird for a second, I thought, because you said Ryan, you see, and then obviously
fuck you,
everybody watching is
you do you know what I find? Do you know when you say a tough player? I find who's always a nuisance, always there, always on top of you, you don't get a breath of fresh air. That's difficult. I don't care. It doesn't matter if he's the biggest player or whatever. Massive ball carrier, don't bother me. But if someone's there, every ruck hitting you, just leave me alone for a second.
Well, with that in mind, a player who's rubbed you up the wrong way the most in your career?
Bakkies Botha. Bakkies Botha. He took me out late on a ruck, and then he just like, he just stayed on top of me for a little bit, and I knew it was a penalty our way, and I went, "Oh, you stupid!" So I won't swear, but yeah.
Down with a C, end with a T.
Yeah, he was late. I was like, "Oh, you dull." So yeah, and we had a penalty, which we actually got 3 points.
And final one, Josh. Who are the people you're taking in a car with you to the ultimate party? 3 players.
You want some lunatics in it? Actually, yeah, I'll go with this: Hoggy, Cowan Dickey.
Ooh.
I'm just thinking from anything, and Sinks as well. Sinks would be good. That would be a good crew.
Yeah,
that'll be a solid crew, I think.
Perfect. Well, sadly, that is all the time we've got left for this week. A huge thank you to Ryan and Max, and a huge thank you to Josh for coming on, taking us through his amazing career. Best of luck with everything going forward. Remind us again the name of your company.
Cute Club.
Cute Club, baby.
Yeah.